Hello everyone, and welcome to my, at this point, annual I'm Not Dead video. And this year, as with last year, I'm gonna be playing a historical battle in Shogun 2 Fall of the Samurai. And of course it is the next historical battle. And I'm gonna be playing on the hardest difficulty, although it will be hard to know for you because I'm not playing this live, I'm recording this after the fact. Anyway, I'm gonna shut up for a bit and let you enjoy the opening cutscene if you care for that.
Only a few days have passed since war broke out at Tobafushimi. The fearsome samurai Saigo Takamori and his imperial army are marching against the Tokugawa shogun himself. Tokugawa Yoshinobu's seat is Osaka Castle, a formidable fortress surrounded by water. The scattered Tokugawa loyalists have regrouped here. They defend the town and castle in great numbers. Takamori's scouts report that shogunate troops have been spotted moving large amounts of gunpowder. The activity seems to be centered on the wall towers of the castle. Perhaps they are storing it there. The scouts also report that Tokugawa Yoshinobu himself has fled by ship. The shogun will have to watch his castle burn. Defeat the shogunate army, capture Osaka Castle, and burn it as a demonstration of the emperor's wrath.
So yes, as you saw with the little crossfade there, this is not live gameplay. And there are a few reasons for that. First off, my main plan, when I decided I was going to do this for this year as well, was to actually play the battle first, and there's a good reason for that, which I will get back to, and then get a replay, and then get the replay file and record some interesting stuff, and basically do post-commentary on that. But what I found out is that you have a replay system for multiplayer battles, you have a replay system for campaign battles, as far as I'm aware, but not for historical battles. So I played the first battle and won, and well, you just gotta take my word on that, because yeah, no replays, so I didn't record any of that, and I had just spent like 50 minutes which were basically wasted, so I had to play it again. Anyway, this is the start of the battle. This is being my actual third attempt, more on that later as well. I knew basically what to do, so I rushed up a few guys and held down a good position. So basically the reason for me not wanting to do this as a live commentary in the first place and rather record it from a replay, which turned out to not be something I could do, is that I actually have tried this earlier. I tried this a few years ago actually, not last year but maybe even the year before that. Yeah, I did an entire live recording of it, and I failed. I failed because I ran out of time, so that is definitely can be a major issue in this battle, and because of that I basically want to play through it and get it done, and then go from a replay, which didn't actually turn out to be possible, so that was fun. Anyway, in this historical battle you basically want to take the castles, and you have a few tricks up your sleeve. One thing is to blow up this gate, which takes out quite a few men, and then target the gate behind them because they're gonna try to flee. So if you time it right, and it's quite easy to time it right, you can actually take out quite a lot of the forces early on. And the reason why we want to do that, and also the reason why I want to go all the way around all of this, is the fact that their bridge is gonna blow up and you're not gonna be able to get over there. So you have forced to basically take the long way around and go all the way around the castle, which is fun, forcing you into doing a bit more. And yeah, you can see the destroyed bridge right there. And if we take a look at this, let's see, 64%. There we go. There you have it. And it is stuff like that that makes this battle a lot easier than if you go into it not knowing what you're doing. And now it's on to basically take the dojos, and they will give us some nice buffs to have, nothing major. Well, one of them is pretty major actually, come to think of it, but it's not this one. It's the one that gives us a better firing rate, and is a good place, as you will see, to place your artillery and basically get your ammo replenished while you're firing off all your artillery ammunition. And that will get quite a lot of kills, as you will see by the end of the battle. Anyway, if you people come over and try to resist us, and I'll let you see me basically fight them off easily. This is basically just a exercise in trying to lose as few men as possible, which I had various amounts of success with. In the first attempt, the one that I didn't film with, I did an okay job, although I did run into a few blunders. I don't think I was perfect in this one either, but definitely the first one was not that good at all. And there was an interesting episode where I used my general basically to try to bait out an ambush, because I knew there was definitely an ambush coming. And I remember correctly, although I had forgotten the fact that it was a cavalry ambush. So my general was so out of position, and he got chased by a lot of cavalry, and basically all of his bodyguard died, but just besides my general. So I had Saigo Takamori, I believe his name is, and no one else in his general's bodyguard. But he survived, and I won the battle. But you won't see that, because, once again, I didn't record that. So here you can quickly see my sharpshooter taking out the Shogutai units up on the wall there. Quite a good target to pick off quite cheaply, and well, they will come back to face us, but well, in some capacity, not well, you'll find out. So at this point you might have noticed that a few of the edits right there, and a lot of the editing is a bit sloppy, and that is definitely my fault. This is quite a bit rushed, as you probably might have guessed. So any weirdness in the editing like that could be a lot better cut, is down to me. So sorry about that. Oh yes, also the reason why this is muted, you're not hearing the game, you're just hearing the soundtrack, is that at this point I was kind of not furious, but slightly annoyed about how much time this had actually taken me. So I decided to watch a video on my second monitor while recording this, meaning that the audio would be useless because it would be of that video. So basically this is muted, and you get the quite lovely soundtrack instead. So enjoy. Yeah, and I should also say the first attempt was lost because, well, I forgot to record it. Well, not forgot, but I told you the replay didn't work. That was not a feature. But the second attempt, that was more fun in quotation marks. Well, all of them are fun in quotation marks. But that was due to basically the game crashing halfway through, which was not annoying at all. No. So I basically wasted like close to an hour and a half. And had nothing to show for it, so that was fun. But yeah, so at this point I was basically rushing through everything because I knew just about everything, and this made this attempt not really that challenging at all. But you still gotta do it, and it takes quite a while, and you gotta do the right stuff, which also takes quite a while. Especially the thing about just letting the artillery sitting there and not and just take away enemy numbers. So moving on, and we have pushed on through, and we are approaching the Archery Dojo, where we are gonna face a few units, and at this point I was basically rushing, just trying to get there as soon as possible, and also trying to get a few shots off with my main man, Sago Takamori. And that kind of worked, and kind of didn't. You will see. Another interesting thing that happened in the second attempt with Sago Takamori is that I also tried to rush everything, which led me to try to use him to capture the dojo, which we have already captured at this point. And that worked great, although I had to dismount, and that shouldn't be an issue. He was far behind enemy lines, friendly lines, sorry. And yeah, seemed like everything was going fine, and I made all of my moves, and went back to take a look at him, and him and his bodyguard was standing there, without their horses. The horses had run off. So, that was very interesting. They were suddenly a land unit. Oh yeah, and at this point I tried to charge the enemy cavalry. Not cavalry, but line infantry with cavalry. I have a little display up here. It's hard to tell exactly what's going on. The little display in Sony Vegas isn't the largest on this monitor. Anyway, so yes, I also had the fun extra task of trying to guide a now dismounted unit, significantly weaker than he and his bodyguards were in their original forms. But yeah, eventually that didn't matter because, as I said, the game crashed. So now we are taking the Archery Dojo and having a fun old time, just brutally murdering the Shogunate units. And yeah, bless them, the AI isn't the best, is it? Well, that's never been Total War's strong point. And if you play it for that, well then, I don't really know what to tell you. Although, maybe it's gotten better in the newer games. I haven't played Total War in forever, like, in terms of the newer games. Oh god, I think actually Attila was the newest game I played. Yeah, so, who knows? Well, you probably know better than I do, because I don't really touch that much Total War stuff these days. So, the AI might have improved, but I don't think the chances are that high. But yeah, as I said, you would know better than me. So here we have taken the dojo, and we are just gonna pile on every single one of our units. And that is because standing in that little circle right there replenishes your ammo. And we will just station our artillery pieces right there, as I said earlier, and let them just shoot away at the enemies inside the castle. And that is basically going to be vital to securing our victory. Although we probably would have won anyway, but it's definitely a solid way of just guaranteeing our victory. And you will see at the end screen how significant their contribution actually were. So another bridge and another set of gates. And we're going to do exactly the same thing as we did earlier, with the same very explosive effect. Very, very spicy. And after being done with that, we're just gonna continue to pluck off the remaining enemies right there. Anyway, this is basically where the ambush is gonna come, and I don't know exactly how far you have to be along to trigger it. So this is the point where I put up all of my men and basically trigger the ambush. And yeah, this turned out to be a slight mistake, but it doesn't really do that much damage. So yes, it's not that big of a deal, this ambush, but this unit right here, the revolver cavalry, is definitely the unit to be careful of. And yes, as you can see, I keep on my artillery fire, just keep selecting newer and newer targets, and whittling down an equal amount. So yes, thankfully the revolver cavalry has been neutralized. So you can see at the top of the screen, right to my right there, might be hard to tell, but there's basically a fortified enemy unit, which we kind of have to outflank to not be completely shredded by it, because Fall of Samurai is a game where you can't really do stuff like just charge in. Well, you can, but then you will die. Your units will die, and then you will die. So yes, basically send 2 flanking units and just take care of them. And if you don't take care of them, well, then you are basically dead. So yes, we are here at the final bridge, and this bridge will not explode, and that is a good thing, or else this mission would be impossible. And yeah, it's weird that game developers don't make the challenges impossible. Anyway, the enemy unit senses our presence, and that means it is time for us to push on up. And for some reason, and for a very good reason, or for a very good effect for us, that unit decides to run away from us, while it was a fortified unit. So we got a few point-blank shots right into their face, at the cost of a few point-blank shots into our face, but not that many compared to this one. So yes, this is basically the final thing that stands in our way outside the castle. And now it is time to assault the castle. So, having used our sharpshooter units to pluck up the enemy defendants on the walls, we sneak up in their blind zone and burn down the gate. And eventually we just push on in, and this is after a lot of artillery fire once again. Nothing really difficult with that tactic. You basically need time for it, because, as I said, I have lost this earlier because I ran out of time, and I did run out of that time, mainly because I was waiting for the artillery to kill off a lot of the units, and there were a lot of units, mostly down to me not killing off that many of them in the explosions that I did in this little play through. So now it is basically time to push on in, attack, and I was gonna say YOLO, but this isn't really a YOLO move because it's very much calculated, yes. Yes, it is pretty much the best move. There's no reason as to not do this, so not a YOLO. Anyway, enjoy. I would also like to mention that this is not just a video for me to keep up the tradition of making at least a video a year for my channel. It is that as well, but it's also for the kind of amazing fact to me that this is my 10th year of making videos. I made my first video in 2010, making this the 10th year I've actually made a video for in a row, and that is quite amazing to me, and I would just like to take this opportunity to thank all of you that have watched my video at some point in time. Anyway, that was about 3 seconds of sappiness, and I think that is enough for this video. So back to the battle. And that is all the defenders on the lower tier of the castle taken out, and we push on up and use our sharpshooters, we thankfully still have a bit of ammunition left, to take out this Shogunate Guard infantry unit. That is a unit that is very hard to hit with the artillery stationed where we have it. We could take our artillery and move it all the way around, but once again that would take way too much time. Or at least in a normal scenario. In this specific battle I definitely would have had time for it, but I kind of ran out of patience, and it wouldn't really be necessary anyway, because as you can see we take care of them quite easily with sharpshooters, and we have whittled down the Shogutai unit quite drastically with both sharpshooters and also quite a bit of artillery. Speaking of whittling down the artillery, we have destroyed the general's bodyguard, and it's basically just general remaining. And we will see more of him in a little bit. So now we reach the end of the battle with the last shogunate unit dead and the general being taken care of with spears as he deserves. And then all that remains is the lone Shogutai units, which we will take down with revolvers. Quite brutally. And this is why revolver cavalry is deadly, by the way, because they are basically this, but with 2 revolvers instead of just 1. Anyway, I'm sure you knew that, if you have been following my channel for a bit. Anyway, that is the end of the battle, and back to sound, because now it's time for the outro.
From a ship in Osaka Bay, Tokugawa Yoshinobu watches his castle burn. He has now been driven from the southern half of a country he supposedly rules. Through courageous leadership in battle, Saigo Takamori has tipped the balance of power in Japan. His samurai followers see him as a hero, and his achievements are celebrated throughout the land.
So here are the statistics, and I will scroll through them, and basically you can pause if you want to actually read that, but we're gonna, before we leave, just have a quick look at the kind of coming up next, which you will see right now.
Following the destruction of Osaka Castle, Shogun Tokugawa Yoshinobu returns to Edo by sea. His army is smashed. Japan is in turmoil. Support for the shogunate in central and southern Japan has collapsed. Clans flock to the emperor's banner. Imperial forces march across central Japan, facing only token resistance. Tokugawa Yoshinobu, with insufficient manpower to defend Edo, surrenders the city and his position. Some loyalist shogunate troops, however, refuse to surrender. At Ueno near Edo, a loyalist army digs in. They must be removed.
So yes, that is basically it for me this year, and I thank you so much for watching once again, and I wish you a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. Goodbye.